Okay, let's quickly learn how to make groups in Maya. So when you guys are working with the concept of groups, I want you to think of groups as, you know, basically envelopes. So think about taking files and putting them into envelopes, taking envelopes and putting them into, say, cabinets, taking cabinets and putting them into rooms. So you can have groups and groups within groups in Maya. Okay, if you have an object, or if you have, say, multiple objects, so let's have another object right here. To group these objects together, you're going to select both the objects and press Ctrl G. And while I do that, look into the outliner real quick for me. Ctrl G, and that's a group. And now you can move the objects singly, or you can select the group and move the entire group. Okay, which is something that you'll be using extensively. So imagine you guys are making a sort of table that has computer parts sitting on it. You have a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse, and all of these will be modeled out individually, but eventually all of this will be grouped as one. So if you wanted to move the entire setup, you don't have to select every screw and every button individually. Just select the group and move the whole damn thing, and the whole thing will move together. The whole thing will scale up and down, which is very efficient. Of course, if you had two of these groups and just duplicating the group and moving it to the side, you can also select both these groups together and make another group. So now take a look at it. You can move all these individual objects if you like. You can move their groups independently, but you could also move the entire setup, almost like imagine you have computer tables, but you have all of these computer tables sitting inside one room, and you wanted to move the entire room. So you'll group these little groups of computer tables. So that way you can have multiple groups. Just remember to name all of these groups, which I haven't, but you will when the project actually starts out. So groups are really important. One more thing I wanted to show you guys was to sort of mess with the pivot of the objects. When you create an object such as this, the pivot is normally sitting exactly at the center. What if you don't want your pivot to sit at the center? If you don't want it to sit in the center, if you want it to move out, you're going to have to hit Insert on the keyboard. Hitting Insert is going to get you into the pivot mode like so. 1, 2, and now you're basically in the pivot mode. If you move it out, you see the object stays where it is, but the pivot's moving. Now let's go back into, say, rotate, and you see that the object rotates completely differently because it's not rotating at the center of it, it's rotating from the outside. So there's a lot of importance, significance to being able to move your pivots. So that is hitting Insert. For those of you who are on Macintoshes, Insert is not even a button that you guys have. So what you're going to do is press and hold D as in David on your keyboard. But you have to press and hold it, and then you can move it around. I'll let go, and there's your pivot. Okay, to send the pivot back to the center, you can either manually eyeball it to go back into the center, or you can simply click on Modify, click on Center Pivot, and there you go. Goes back into the center right away. So that was creating groups, manipulating pivots. A couple of things I want you to check out in addition to learning about polygonal primitives is display, heads-up display. And I want you to try and check and uncheck some of these options and see what exactly you get by doing it. This homework is very important. Another thing I want you to learn is to click on Create, Curve Tools, CV Curve Tool. When you're learning a tool, when I'm asking you to learn a tool, don't just learn the default version of the tool. Go into the option box and try different things out, and that will really teach you the tool to a point where maybe you'll come back and teach me new things as well. Okay, so that was pretty much what we are going to be covering in class 1.